So here's yet another video that's a long time in the making. Avengers Endgame. I watched the thing like 3 months ago, and I had meant to do a review right after, and then there was Cobra Kai, and there was like the Phantasm thing, and it's just like the last year of this decade, like everything's wrapping up, and there's just so much to talk about that here I am, super belated, so I do apologize for that. Let's get into it. Bottom line, I absolutely loved Avengers Endgame. There were a lot of ways that like things really could have gone wrong with it. Like, you know, Captain Marvel, like even though I did in fact like Captain Marvel, I was a little bit concerned that she was just going to come in and literally save the day for everybody, which would have been a real cop-out if you think about it, considering we've been following all these characters since, I mean, 2008, 2003 if you count Ang Lee's Hulk, which most people don't, but at any rate, I digress. That didn't happen. And honestly, I liked this better than Infinity War. I know that that's kind of like up for debate. Some people prefer Infinity War, some people prefer Endgame. I liked Endgame better because I felt that it functioned a little better. It was very smart what they did. When Thanos snaps his fingers and everybody, you know, disappears, half of everybody disappears, it leaves it up to mostly just the original Avengers. I mean, you still got Rocket the Raccoon and a couple people who have joined, Ant-Man. And that's another thing. I was happy that Ant-Man was in it because his absence in Infinity War was really, like, noticeable. I still actually have yet to see Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I basically know how that movie ends now. At any rate, very good addition to the film. And the concept of time travel in this was brilliant because it's a great way to kind of just ride the wave of everything that we've seen before, kind of like revisit it and getting closure for a lot of characters. The ending is sad but awesome at the same time. I have a friend, Bobby, who believes that this whole like universe thing was really actually started by Full Moon Pictures, which is interesting, but I will go so far as to say that this is the first time that something like this has been done like mainstream. I understand that Thor like made an appearance in the Lou Ferrigno Hulk, and there have been crossovers before, but there has never been like a complete story chronologically spanning 10 years and what, like 20 some odd films telling a story. And the crazy thing is, it's not even going to end there, and they're like really smoothly transitioning into, you know, what I assume is going to be the new Avengers, and like, you know, Spider-Man Far From Home is coming out, and a lot of that has to do with the aftermath of Endgame and how Peter Parker has been affected by everything that's happened. I'm just mind blown. Even if every film after this is a piece of crap, they completed this gigantic story, and they did so in such a great way, because after 11 years of following this, it would have been an outright crime if the last movie had sucked. Having the more limited cast, having the focus on those original Avengers, it was a little bit more like easy to follow. Not that Infinity War, I mean, credit where credit is due. You gotta like really give praise to Infinity War for just throwing all of these people into one movie, and just this person's here in this scene and that and that and that, and characters' paths are crossing, and just like everybody's everywhere. And then when Thanos snaps his fingers, it kind of gives him a chance to kind of like, all right, let's like ground this thing again and basically bring everybody back in this massive battle at the end of the movie, which frankly was what I was hoping they were going to do. I'd say since about 2016, they've just been kind of knocking it out of the park. You know, like Thor Ragnarok introduced a little bit of humor. It's like they found a way to kind of like keep the story going without it getting stale, without these characters growing stale. And after all this, you really do feel like a lot of the deaths, you know, you really feel like, oh, my buddy is dead. And that's because it's just so well done. The worst of the Marvel movies in this franchise, I would say, are mediocre. They're not even bad. They're not even bad. They're just mediocre. I'm really happy to be doing this video. I'm really happy that I can say that this movie was good and that all of these movies came to a close in a good way. I'm really happy that like this is something that we can look back on. You know, we can look back on this decade and be like, hey, remember the Marvel movies? The Marvel movies, dude, those were crazy, man. Thor Ragnarok, holy shit, Captain America Civil War, that was insane. And frankly, I do look forward to Phase 4. even though I do kind of view this as being over, it's like I'm interested to see what they're going to do in the future. But at any rate, Avengers Endgame, really, really solid movie. Honestly, I don't think I had any beef with it whatsoever. And yeah, go Marvel, man. I love the Avengers movies. I love the Marvel Universe. And that's all she wrote.